Okay. All right.
Good evening. Welcome to the Riverside Fire Community Meeting. We apologize for tonight's technical difficulties, but we're glad that we're able to get a recording out to you. My name is Michelle Fiddler. I'm a Public Information Officer with the Southwest Area Incident Management Team. This evening, we'll have updates for you from the members of our team, as well as our partner agencies. All of our information is available on INCIWeb, where you can link to our daily updates, maps, photos, any of the resources we referenced tonight. With that, we are going to introduce our first speaker this evening. Jake Nuttall is an operations section with the Southwest Area Incident Management Team.
Okay, evening everybody. I'm Jake Nuttall. I'm the operations section chief for Southwest Incident Management Team 1, giving you an update on the operations that we had throughout the day. So we'll actually start by kind of orienting, right? So we got Estacada, Colton, the Glen Haven area, and then of course Roaring Wilderness, and then on the other side Timothy Lake. So that gives you a decent overview of kind of the map that we're looking at. Very first thing, so we'll start into this area. What has ended up happening today is we've actually had some aviation resources helping us out, some of the helicopters delivering water by buckets. That operation is actually currently happening. And so just to give an idea where that's at is in this area. So what we want to do is be able to make sure that our fire is not advancing any further to the south towards the Beachy Creek incident. And so essentially, because right now we've got containment line all the way around this area, we want to make sure to be able to knock out some of the heat with this in this area to be able to support the crews and the engines and the dozers and the heavy equipment that's in this area, trying to suppress anything that may be a threat to the hand line dozer lines. Moving up into the Colton area, excellent success today, being able to get all of our control lines through that area. Now what we got is all of our crews, our engines, they're continuing that mop up process. The one thing that I would say is this spot fire, and I'm sorry I just colored it off, but that one is actually has fire all the way through it. We've mopped up, and so this one is looking really good, and so we're actually going to see full containment of that as of today. The other one that I wanted to identify, most of you probably know, this is Goat Mountain, and so you can see this on my fire's edge isn't to the interior. So what we're doing right now, this whole area right there has been really cold over the last 3 days. And with the moisture that could be coming in later this week, we're going to continue to monitor this area. Just make sure that nothing is starting to pick up. You can see all the black edge right here. You got Estacada right here, along with the spot fire. All that edge has been really cold over the last couple of days. We're continuing the efforts with our engines and our crews and just continue to mop up that area. This is really where we got that division Foxtrot break. Essentially, this is where our indirect line, this is where our masticators, our forwarders, and our fellow bunchers are currently working. Currently, they've gotten about to this point, and they're about a little over halfway through with this. We expect this to be tied into this wilderness area probably in the next 2 to 3 days. This whole line will be complete and ready for any type of actions that would be necessary here in the near future. Or we continue to monitor this fire's edge. In addition, with the moisture that's going to be coming in, we'll just continue to monitor this by air. So that would include our air attack platforms. So that's the plane that's flying around. We have a couple individuals being able to contact the ground resources and be able to give updates if there's any type of activity that they would deem as a threat to our lines. Right now, no threats. All the smoke and stuff that we're seeing right now is currently interior. This is also known as the Abbott Road, splits the two wildernesses. Today, we were able to get heavy equipment, a dozer and a excavator, into where the rock slide is. So currently what we have is we have a branch break right here. So that excavator and dozer got all the way to the rock slide. it looks like we're going to be able to open that up, have it no later than the end of shift tomorrow to be able to have that opened up. That way we have access to this whole road system, splitting the two wildernesses, be able to put our fellow bunchers and our heavy equipment in there to be able to do all the prep work. And then in addition to, again, if this was to pick up or anything, we have a line to be able to protect anything moving to the north. Last piece coming out of the Abbott Road, you may know this, it's the 57 road. Here is the 58 road. So this is the junction coming into Timothy Lake. Right now we're about 6 miles from this junction right here, up about 6 miles, and we've completed that prep work. So we're going to continue around until we get this whole section tied off and all the prep work is completed. We're probably looking at that next 4 to 5 days, having all of this completed. One big effort also happening, of course, you got the fire down to the south. Our incident management team members, to include our branch chiefs, our overhead out in the field, is coordinating with them also, their overhead. And so we're essentially going to have direct line or indirect line all the way through, utilizing road systems, being able to prep our roads, have that additionally available. So coordination on this side, in addition to coordination over here with the Beachy Creek incident, we've got an indirect line established on this side. And of course, we continue to monitor all the smokes and everything that may be near the edge through the southern edge of the incident. All this is being monitored by our air attacks and so on and so forth. So essentially, if you have seen more heat through the day, maybe more smoke, there's definitely going to be more smoke and heat as we've seen the drying. There will be multiple green islands within this big red area that really what it's doing is that the forest is kind of cleaning it up itself. So you'll have some creeping fire along, and we'll actually have our fire behavior analysts identify that. But essentially, we will see more smoke, more fire within the interior. Our biggest thing is we want to make sure the edges are good and tight. That way we don't see any advancement of the fire. So that'll conclude your operational update.
Hi there, my name is Christian Cassell, incident meteorologist for the Riverside Fire. So for an incident like the Riverside Fire, I serve an incident management team for two primary purposes. The first is to provide current and forecast weather information to help the incident management team keep everyone on the fire as safe as possible. And the second reason is to help the incident management team devise an effective strategy for how they want to manage or fight the fire. So let's talk about the weather. And fortunately, we're looking at more fall-like weather than we are fire weather. So that's good news. Today we had very quiet conditions. We had a little bit of sun in the morning, some mid-level clouds. Mid-level clouds continued all day, but we started to even see some low-level clouds develop over the fire area. So humidity stayed high. Temperatures were seasonable, very much like an early fall day. Tomorrow, Tuesday, first day of fall, so continued fall-like behavior, weather. We will see more clouds, so more extensive low clouds to start the morning, and continued increasing cloudiness in the mid-levels. Very benign weather overall. And then as we go into Wednesday, we start to see significant changes. Winds, let's talk about the jet stream. The jet stream will become quite strong and move over our area. Will bring increasing winds and also widespread wetting rains to the area. So rainfall amounts right now, looking at the possibility of 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch, and there's even the possibility of upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rain. For the timing of that's a little less certain, but we do think by afternoon the rain will be starting. The heaviest rain, moderate rain, steady rain through the evening into the overnight, and then Thursday into Friday, and perhaps all the way into parts of Saturday. We're looking at widespread shower activity gradually diminishing to scattered. So, not much really in the way of fire weather. Now let's talk about the winds. So the winds with the jet stream moving overhead, the winds are going to start to increase. Here in the Willamette Valley, we're starting to think about 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 25 miles per hour. However, with those stronger winds just off the surface, places like Goat Mountain and other exposed areas higher up in elevation, they're going to see wind gusts, wind stay into Thursday, 30 to 50 miles per hour. So it's going to be some really strong winds, but it's going to bring really high humidity, loads of moisture, and very cool temperatures. So we're not anticipating any active fire weather. So I just want to end one last thing, the smoke. So the wildfire, obviously, as operations alluded to, is still producing smoke. So our normal diurnal wind, which is occurring today and tomorrow, starts out with a drainage wind or a very light wind. So the very light wind will push under the kind of lid in the atmosphere in the lower levels, will kind of push, kind of waffle that smoke out into the Willamette Valley. But then later in the day, as we start to get a little bit more westerly increase in winds, the smoke should begin to disperse or move back into the foothills of the Cascades. So with that, that's your weather update. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Stuart Turner, Fire Behavior. So as a fire behavior analyst, what I do for the team is I try to predict what the fire is going to do, where it's going to go, and how fast it's going to get there. I use three things to do that. I look at the weather. You just heard from the meteorologist about that. I look at the topography, the hills, the elevation out there, and I also look at the fuels. So for tomorrow's fire behavior, I'm expecting we'll still continue to see that smoldering fire across the fire landscape. There's a lot of logs out there. There's a lot of stump holes out there. Those are all burning. It's not moving around, but it's consuming those fuels. And that consumption also produces smoke. And that's what you're seeing. And you're going to continue to see that until those are either extinguished or they burn out the log or the stump that they're working on. So smoke production is going to be an ongoing process. Now, perimeter growth, I'm not expecting any perimeter growth tomorrow. We may see a little bit of creeping around the fire area tomorrow. When the sunshine comes out, we preheat those fuels. They dry down enough with a little bit lower humidity tomorrow. We may see a little bit of creeping around, but I'm not expecting a lot of perimeter growth tomorrow, just a lot of smoldering continuing around the fire. So let's take a look at this Google Earth image. If we can zoom out a little bit, Brad, please. So this is the fire, north, south. If you look over on the west side, let me get my pencil back. There we go. Over here on the west side, you can see how we don't have a lot of little red dots over there. Those red dots are the isolated heat. On the west or the east side, we have lots of red dots. That's where a lot of the heat's at right now. We're seeing a lot of heat over there. That's the smoke producer. And then this shaded yellow stuff, of course, that's going to be the scattered heat you see up here. And there's just so much red dots out there that they don't separate those all out. So you can see most of the activity is going to be over here on the west, or I'm sorry, on the east. Let's erase that. I'm going to zoom in, Brad. Now I want to show you some of the topography, if we can zoom in on this and take a look at the 3D effect in Google Earth to see how steep this is. Maybe, maybe not. Release that. Okay. So we've zoomed in onto the east side. And you can see this little area. Let me get my pencil back. Come on, pencil. There we go. See this little area right here where the blue line is separated by the red line. That red is growth. That's where the fire actually grew. The little dot shows us some heat in there. So anywhere where we see that separation, we know the fire grew a little bit right there. But you can see how steep the slope is. That's about a 45% slope right there. So that's pretty darn steep. That's really steep. So for a crew to get it working in there is very, very difficult. That's why when you heard Jake, the operations section chief, talking about monitoring, that's a good area for us to monitor and see what that's going to do. This rainfall that you heard from the meteorologist coming in, that's going to help lock that into place without any boots on the ground in there. So that's a good thing for us. And I'll be hanging around if you have any questions for fire behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Next, we are going to shift to one of our virtual speakers tonight. I'd like to shift over and introduce Clackamas County Sheriff Craig Roberts.
Hi, and first of all, thanks for the opportunity to address citizens in our county and to really want to highlight some of the things that are going on. Obviously, this fire now has been burning for 2 weeks. I think all of us were excited to see some rain that helped us some degree. One of the things I think is really important to highlight is really the Type 1 overhead team and or the incident management team that Clackamas County and really state of Oregon is so fortunate to have here. I've had the opportunity to work with a number of these individuals. We're having regular ongoing conversations. And I think you can see from having a meteorologist, having a fire behavioral expert, and countless other talented people, it is really helping us manage this crisis. And so my big thanks to this incredible team that's here in Clackamas. And we are truly blessed to have this team here. So my thanks to the fire folks that are helping us. I want to give you just some updates on some evacuation zones and also some curfew changes that we've had. And they include the area of the Wilhoit fire has now been returned to level 1. The immediate area surrounding the Doughty fire, Unger fire, and Riverside fire remain at level 3. The Estacada is now in a level 1. Molalla has now been returned to regular status, meaning they're not activated to any level. And again, the Mount Hood National Forest still remains closed. I can't emphasize enough to citizens that please, we encourage you to stay out of the level 3 evacuation areas for the emergency responders that were responding in that area. It's just critical to keep our roadways clear and making sure that they can get in and don't get backed up with traffic or other problems. Talking about the curfew begins at 10 p.m. It continues until 6 a.m. and now it only applies in the level 3 zones. So one of the things that has been a great concern for citizens, and I completely sympathize with citizens in Clackamas County, and it has to do with being evacuated from your home and then concerns that individuals might be taking advantage of this opportunity. And unfortunately, we have had suspects arrested. I want to go into that a little bit. So this past weekend, we had 6 new crime reports in the fire affected areas this past weekend. To give you some other highlights, so as of today, between September 8th through the 21st, we've actually arrested 22 people. In total, we've had 54 crime reports taken. And those reports include really burglary, theft, arson, and some other crimes. What's really important to know also is that we are, with our partners, investigating 2 suspicious fires. We had one suspicious vehicle fire and a barn fire. So to talk a little bit about that, the vehicle fire is currently under investigation. We have a person of interest identified. We have detectives working that case actively right now. On the other case, the barn fire, I'm pleased to report that earlier today I spoke with one of our detectives, and that individual was taken into custody for an arson 2 arrest regarding this barn fire that we had. To let folks know, the individual arrested was a 14-year-old juvenile, and that case is being referred to the juvenile department really as we speak. A point I want to make very clear is that these 2 fires that, as our investigation shows at this point, are not connected to the larger wildfires that we're addressing. There's no evidence to show any connection to any group or organization. And I once again want to calm the public's concerns about that we have, again, no evidence to show that there's any connection to that. To highlight how in depth we're going into this, we have a team of detectives that are following up with these tips that come in. They're assessing them, and each and every one of them, we have somebody assigned to the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We have members there researching each and every individual that we're contacting to see if there is any association. And I want to reiterate that we do not have any connection to any group or organization. One of the things that I also want to highlight, which is been the big concern is, do we still have patrol in these areas? Absolutely. So we've have a wonderful partnership with our law enforcement partners and the state police, and we continue to have heavy patrols in the area. I can tell you, I've been out there personally a number of times, and we constantly run into each other. There's a lot of law enforcement in the area, and they're contacting individuals that are any concern for law enforcement, and citizens are calling in. So we are following up on each one of those. The one thing I wanted to close, and I've been all over this county meeting with individuals, with Alan and his team, and talking to a number of citizens. One really shout out I want to do to our faith-based community has stepped up in countless ways. All the local churches in Molalla and Canby and Estacada have been stepping up to help those in recovery. We have a chaplain, Mike Vermace, in our office that has also been helping coordinate those efforts. And so we just have a huge amount of our faith-based churches that are stepping up. Just a big thanks for some of those outside kind of the impacted area. Include a number of different churches. So, for example, Athey Creek Community Church had a tremendous amount of people out there, along with Willamette Christian Church and so many others. So my thanks to all of you for stepping up and helping us during this difficult time, and just want the public to know that you have our commitment, that we are out there. We are just a phone call away, and our commitment is to be there in any time of need, and we are watching over your property. Thank you so much.
We'd like to next show you a new tool that we have available. There's a link to our story map on InciWeb. A story map is just a website that includes different mapping options and other resources. So again, it's highlighted on InciWeb. You can access it from there, but we just kind of wanted to show you what was available as part of that. So on the landing page of our story map, we have our latest public information map here, and then we have links to some of our common partners, the smoke information, information on the Clackamas County wildfires, how to help, and then our phone numbers, email, all of that information up here at the top. Next, on our next page here, we have our interactive fire map, and you're able to zoom in and out on this one. And so it gives you a chance to kind of steer the fire and move in and out to see the level of detail that you're interested in. This one will actually go all the way down to the street view if you continue to zoom in. So it's a little bit washed out here, but if you're able to check it out online, you can change the view there. Our next resource here, we've incorporated the county's evacuation map to just make it easier to reference that resource. It's got a link to their website as well. So this will show you their current evacuation levels for reference, as well as information on what the different levels mean. Our next tab here just goes to our INSEE webpage. So again, the same page you're probably familiar with on here. You can also zoom in and out on this main page map. You can change the background layers if you're interested. So lots of resources here, as well as links to all of our announcements, closures, news, photos, and our latest updates always posted on the main page here for reference as well. A new resource that we've added today is our progression map. And so this gives you a sense of the fire activity and how it's progressed since the beginning of the incident. The colors note each different day. So it's definitely a helpful tool to be able to see how the fire continues to grow. The next one here is a link to the ODOT trip check. Again, travel information is available on this website. And then the last tab we have here is our weather information to help make sure you can access the National Weather Service information from Portland easily. So again, all these resources are available multiple ways, but we just wanted to introduce you to this tool for reference to hope that you can take advantage of it. And again, all of our contact information is here. So if we didn't address the question you might have tonight, please feel free to give us a call so we can help get to that answer for you. So to wrap things up tonight, I'd like to introduce our incident commander for the Southwest Area Incident Management Team, Alan Sinclair.
Good evening, everybody. Alan Sinclair, Incident Commander with Southwest Area Team Number 1. So as Incident Commander, we're working with the agency administrators who have jurisdiction over lands within the fire's footprint. So that's the U.S. Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, and the Oregon Department of Forestry, as well as your local Clackamas County leadership. It's really important for effective incident management to establish communications and establish them early and communicate often. And that's been occurring on this incident. So I really do appreciate everybody from your local area who has been involved in guiding us through this incident. Today's day 11, we're reporting 25% containment. I'd expect those figures to go up a little bit, and really, really, really proud of all the hard work that the firefighters have been doing on the ground. Getting that view and being able to see the steepness of the terrain and how rugged it is where they're working. They're not walking trails, they're building trails and following the fire's edge. And that's just really tough work and a great job by the men and women out there completing it. I'd also like to just point out the little bit of the team. So you've got to hear from the operations section that provides the operational oversight for all those firefighters on the ground and in the air that we work with. And you know, you're getting to see us tonight because of the public information shop. And thanks for their resilience. It didn't work out getting live, but they bounced back and we've got this thing recorded. We've got a plan section that ensures that our firefighters have all the information that they need to go out and do the work that they do. A finance section, making sure that comps and claims are taken care of and people are getting paid. We've got a logistics section, keeping up with all the operations folks out there, making sure the firefighters have what they need. And then we've also got liaison officers working with your local officials, safety officers, making sure people are safe, and we have a human resource specialist, making sure we're all treating each other well. So with that, really proud of the work that's been done, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
With that, we'd just like to thank you again. We apologize for the technical difficulties tonight, but we look forward to giving you future updates. So thank you and have a good night.